Good afternoon. I'm Simon Spalter and very pleased to have you with us this afternoon. This afternoon, we've got Katie Cross from Pledgeball with us. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me.
That's a pleasure, and we're really looking forward to hearing more about Pledgeball and tennis and the relationship that you've built up now with the LTA. So start, Katie, by telling me a little bit about yourself, and then we can move on to Pledgeball. Why Pledgeball? Why you?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's an interesting story, I think. So yeah, as you said, I'm Katie. I'm CEO and founder of Pledgeball. And as you said, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the reason why Pledgeball started really was on a very kind of personal level. It was there was no plan for it to become what it has become, but it simply started as a means of engaging my fellow players in my football team, members of my community, to illustrate the collective impact we can have when it comes to addressing climate change and sustainability. You know, trying to move away from that kind of overwhelm that I very much felt as an individual, feeling, what am I going to do to tackle this? To really illustrating the power of that collective impact as part of the group to which I already belonged.
Okay, so what in effect is Pledgeball? If for somebody who doesn't know anything about it, I know a little about it, but what is it?
So we're a charity, and what we do is essentially rally fellow sports fans and players to take action on environmental sustainability. And that action varies. It can range from very simple decisions around, where you shop, the amount of meat you eat, where you buy your vegetables from, which types of fruits you buy at which type of year, to more kind of higher impact things that might cost more, whether it's kind of installing solar panels or things that some people feel comfortable with and others at this current moment don't. So using your voice in ways to spread this message, really. And I think what's particularly empowering about Pledgeball is that even on a very small level, regardless of where somebody kind of fits in that journey of sustainability, it makes very visible the fact that you're part of a community taking action, and the fact that as a community, you can have a huge amount of power to drive change, even through very, very small actions. And so, just to kind of give a bit more detail about the technicality of it, the way in which it works is it simply asks people to make pro-environmental pledges in support of their clubs, whether it's grassroots venues, whether it's parks, with regards to the LTA, whether with regards to football, it's your professional club that you support. You then pit yourself off against other venues, other clubs when making these pledges, and you win depending on how many people have pledged alongside you.
Okay, so why the LTA? Why did you start working with the LTA? Did they choose you? Did you choose them? How did that happen?
So we met the LTA, and I was already aware of them because of their sustainability strategy. And I really liked their sustainability strategy because it actually goes further than a lot of strategies. It starts to look in future at the kind of last bastion when it comes to addressing sustainability, and that is commercial partnerships. That tends to be the last thing that people address because it's very difficult to decide to turn down money based on, your ethics, essentially. The LTA, asked us whether we could pitch to them what an engagement process might look like, because they were very keen on rallying the whole tennis community behind this. And certainly when we've done, we've kind of been privileged enough to speak to a lot of the members of the tennis community, there is a real appetite to drive change. But I don't think people realise is actually how big a potential we have as a tennis community. And I say we because besides playing football, I also play tennis and love tennis. I actually played at fourth level, but we have to actually drive change. We're a huge community, 8 million people play each year. And simply by making our voices heard, we can really accelerate both infrastructural change when it comes to sport, but also, change outside of sport. So whether it's because of where we shop and the consumer impact that has, whether it's conversations we have with family and friends, whether it's who we vote for, all of these things really do drive significant change. And so that's where this came about, was the LTA saying we'd love to rally the tennis community to take this action with us and to be leaders in this field of driving change.
Okay, so if I, as a member of my club, signed up for tennis Pledgeball, what actually would happen? I'd fill out the form, I'd start, the club would be part of it. I think we're part of a league to see well we're doing compared with lots of other clubs. But what is the reality of it? What would I have to do?
So it's really simple. So you go to pledgeball.org/LTA. And on there, you just search for your own venue. And by the way, the venues can actually personalize their own listings on there. So you can upload your own logo, your own kind of incentives in the description there to encourage people to get involved. Okay. And then when you find your venue, you click on it, and then you make one or a number of pledges in support of it. And these pledges range from switching to using a reusable water bottle to installing solar panels, to eating plant-based 2 days a week. And it tells you
all the options. So all the options are down there. So there's a drop-down menu, which I say, I'm now using a reusable bottle, or I'm now walking to the tennis club, I'm not driving to the tennis club. It's as simple as that?
As simple as that. And it tells you what quantity of emissions you'll save over the course of a year by carrying that out, that action relative to the average person. And you'll see really what a cumulative impact that has, because then it feeds back to you what quantity of emissions have collectively been pledged to be saved by everyone who's pledged in support of that venue. So it's very, very simple. And the really great thing about it is then you enter this LTA Pledgeball League table, and you can basically outdo other venues. So at the moment, we have 3 top runners. We have Barnt Green, we have Ilminster, I think, are they on there? And tennis, as in the number 10 IS. Right. We actually have one more week as of today of the first kind of 6 weeks of this tournament happening. And so some winners, will be drawn from everybody who's pledged. So everybody who pledges gets entered into a draw to win Davis Cup tickets. And the top 3 tennis clubs, they will actually win other prizes. So ranging from behind the scenes tour of the All England Lawn Tennis Club of Wimbledon, and also a bag of tennis equipment, basically specifically for that venue. So there's some great prizes up for grabs as well. And then the next part of the league will start when? In 2 weeks' time? Exactly right. Yeah. So all starts again.
Okay, great. So I was talking to some people about the Pledgeball, and they were sort of saying, we're interested in sustainability, we like it, but can we make a difference? And then they were saying, it's all about children, we should be doing it about the children. And then I said to them, well, the children learn about it at school. And then it's sort of dawned upon me, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, that if in effect families sign up for this whole concept and the children almost drive the change and say, we want to start doing this league, we want to start doing it. What are your thoughts to that? Because I think the children could get more people involved at the clubs, because lots of families do go down to clubs.
Well, so this is a really good point. I mean, I used to teach secondary, and I loved it, apart from the amount of work I had to do. But my thinking with this was that when you look at the potential for bringing about a shift in thinking. Now, in fact, let me go back a little bit. It only takes 25% of a group of people or of a population adopting a new social norm for an inflection point to happen. And then the rest comes to you. So you don't even need to engage everybody, but you need those people to realize there is a point in taking action. And we know that over 80% of people care deeply about climate, but that doesn't translate into behavior. And most of that reason is because, as you just illustrated, people think, well, what's the point? I can't have an impact here. What they don't realize is the degree of impact they have. And that not only do individual choices ripple out in terms of reducing your own emissions and that then having an impact in terms of consumer pressure, but also you start to influence people in the spheres around you. I mean, I heard a great stat that if you have a message and you take that message to 3 other people, and those 3 other people carry that same message to just 3 other people, it takes between 2 and 3 weeks for that message to spread across the world. So people really underestimate the impact they can have. Now, kids a lot of the time do drive this. You know, a lot of people I speak to say, oh, my children constantly nagging me about making sure that I'm recycling the right way, ask me how I'm traveling, etc. The issue is that they're not the decision makers currently. We need them on board, of course, but they are to a degree sitting ducks. As you said, they actually, you know, a lot of people, these conversations are happening within schools. We know that over 50% of young people who experience mental health issues is down to eco-anxiety. And so there is a lot of concern for this from young people, but we need those people who are in positions of just, you know, decision making, whether it's within your own household, what utility provider you choose, how often you drive, where you shop, do you buy secondhand clothes? We need people like that to make those decisions and get on board, because the change has to start happening now. And that change can happen rapidly if we realise the impact we can have. And when you look at the potential groups who can really make this happen, sport is unparalleled in its potential to do this. I mean, where else do you sit next to a whole load of other people who are experiencing exactly the same highs and lows as you at that moment in time? You know, that feeling of kind of collective emotion and togetherness, you don't experience elsewhere. And so that's why at Pledgeball, we really focus, and our research focuses as well, on sporting communities. And also I love sport, so.
Great, okay. So tell me, I've now worked out that I can make a difference. I've worked out that my children are already interested in this. I'm going to go along to the club. I'm going to tell them I've signed up. I'm going to try and encourage other people to sign up. Remind me, where do I go to sign up?
So go to pledgeball.org/LTA, and
Right.
it will take you directly there, and then just search for your venue.
Okay, and then I sign up to my venue, I get going, and then I can look at how I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, how the club's doing on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly right. So you will get an automated email when you have made your pledge. And it's worth pointing out, by the way, it's not a sign-up process. It's not, you know, difficult. You just stick your email address in there. There's no kind of login or anything like that. It's very, very easy to do. You'll get an email that says, here's the league table, and it'll take you directly to the LTA sustainability page, where that LTA Pledgeball league table sits, and you can see it changing on a very regular basis depending on the number of people pledged. And the other thing that's worth pointing out, by the way, is that this is normalized according to the number of courts that the venue has. So we could very easily see the smallest venue imaginable at the top of that league table. Okay,
so anything else you want to add, Katie? I think people are going to be very interested now to sign up. I'm sure you're going to see a boost, and people are going to really be getting involved in this whole process. Anything else you want to tell us before we close up for today?
I think the only thing I'd say is thank you. I mean, we've already seen a huge amount of interest from the tennis community. I would say probably one that exceeds other communities that we worked with, both in terms of interaction online with us, in terms of support they've wanted to give. It's really been quite overwhelming, to be honest. And also from the survey that we put out with the LTA, there's clearly a huge amount of knowledge and concern from the tennis community. And so I really think that there is such potential for the LTA and the tennis community to be leaders in this space.
Great. Thank you very much, Katie, for coming to talk to us today, and we'll speak again soon. All the best.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, you too.